Alrighty, folks, this is video number 3 in our brand new series with Privy. Yes, folks, there will be a playlist on my channel just called Privy. So you go back and watch video number 1 and 2. What is Privy? What are they doing? Now we're going to actually do a product deep dive or demo. But first, let's welcome Scott to the channel. He's the young man that reached out to me that said, hey, we've got something for you, which I have validated and brought to the channel. How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing awesome. Super excited to hop in. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And then Benson, one of the founders, one of the OGs, is actually going to demo the product. So Benson, the show is yours. What are we going to look at? What's it all about?
Well, I definitely want to show you guys kind of some high level stuff about the platform so you can understand, how you can leverage it, how you can use it in your business. Let me just get the screen share up here and I'll be able to show you. I'm going to just pause some notifications here. Cool thing about Privy is that it's a web-based application, so you can use it on any device. It doesn't matter if you prefer being virtual on your mobile device, or if you want to work from your computer. But because of the millions and millions of data points that we process every day, like, you really get the best experience on like your laptop or your desktop. You just need an internet connection. Earlier I mentioned about the direct to MLS data. That really is one of the biggest differentiators between us and some other platforms. And we have that in all these blue areas, as well as all of the red ones that are coming soon. We do have nationwide data coverage. And that is also third-party MLS data, as well as county record data. So, if you are looking for those off-market leads, like if you want to turn into rentals, or if you want to, wholesale, or whatever your strategy is, you can do that in places even like in South Dakota or Wyoming. It's just that there are other areas that are more fruitful. We talked about how Michael likes to think about Privy like a metal detector. Well, what is that metal detector function, and what does it look like? So right here at the top, we got these different buttons. And what I know about investors is, in regards to your exit strategy, and actually I actually always say that Privy is exit strategy agnostic. It really doesn't matter what you do with the property after you find it. But what's almost common between most investors is that we want a deal. And a deal is different for everyone, but who doesn't want to get a discount, right? If you can get a property at a discount and there's a bigger upside on the back end, you're going to get a better return on investment, regardless of if it cash flows or not. So if it cash flows and you can get it at 80% of the ARV or 70%, that's way better than if you had paid market. So how do you find those discounts? Well, the easiest way to find those discounts is by looking where investors are already doing deals. So at the top right here, I click this fix and flip button. What that does is that plots on the map where all the investor activity is currently located. And so there's been 184,000 flips that have happened in the last 12 months. Now, we define a flip based off a property that was purchased, fixed up, and sold, and they bought it lower than 75% of the ARV. Now, there's no like tag or any way that an agent or the county will tell us that a house was actually a flip, but we infer that it is based off of the historical data that we have, the most recent transaction, and then that it went up in value significantly. Okay. So I did mention South Dakota, right? Well, there isn't anybody really doing deals here. So if you live in Sioux Falls, you don't want to be spending a bunch of time looking for properties there, because the data to be able to prove after repair value, the demand for those properties just isn't there. So you're likely able to yield a better return on investment by choosing another market. Now, I actually born and raised in Denver, right? There's decent investor activity here. But one of the things that I knew wasn't there, Michael, was the ability to get that 1% rule to work. And so I'm like, I need to find another market. And so about a year and a half ago, I started doing my own journey of finding another market to invest in virtually. And so I looked at markets like Kansas City. I looked at markets like Milwaukee and Chicago and Indiana. But where I eventually ended up looking at deals in was St. Louis. So St. Louis has over 2,000 properties that have been fixed and flipped. Now, again, I'm not inferring or suggesting that you guys have to do fix and flip. But think about it. When we say I'm finding a property at 70% of the ARV, well, the ARV is the key part of that message.
Right.
ARV means that house was renovated after repair value. And so if we drill down into the St. Louis market by looking at these property clusters, eventually it's going to show us which neighborhoods have the most activity. So
we're getting to buy box level. I like it.
Yes, buy box level. You're exactly right. And sometimes to learn your buy box, you want to look at what others have done. And so that's what this is. Nice. So right here on the map, we have basically a visual representation of where all the investor activity is. So you don't have to, it's not some graph with a line going up into the right or some spreadsheet you have to try to understand. It's like, I can see right here, all those red icons, these are all successful investor deals.
This is interesting, Benson, because again, one of the, I started this 20 years ago, and I tell people to get a buy box and create a tracking spreadsheet, right? Exactly this. And what I try to do in my spreadsheet is kind of build it over time. And you're basically giving it to them right here. Because again, by tracking it daily, I was able to say, what was sold? What was this? Oh, it came back on market. Oh, it's a higher price. This is just a way to do this in a far more efficient manner than what I was doing 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. And then, if you're teaching people to spend 20 minutes, like efficiency is the name of the game. You really be super efficient if you can only spend 20 minutes, that's the minimum, right? But as much as you can carve out on your business. So you have to be really, really super focused. And so we give people the ability to do that with the software that we've built. So these are all the closed deals. And then you can see which neighborhoods you want to actually go and market in. So if you are doing some sort of off-market marketing like mailers, or you're driving for dollars, or you're doing something like that, this is where you want to look. Because if you can find that unrenovated house next to the renovated house, and if as long as that unrenovated house is priced appropriately based off of its as-is condition, then it's going to be a deal in most cases. So these are all the properties here that we're actually are using to prove after repair value on those unrenovated homes. So if we look at one, like this house right here just closed recently, a couple of days ago. Once I click that property, this opens up in what we call a live comparative market analysis. It's just a fancy word for a property report. But as an agent and having 20 years of experience in the business, also being a licensed agent with access to MLS, it could take me hours to build anything like this. For
sure. Yeah.
As well as pull comparables, right? Even with the MLS, it's still a manual process. There's no comping algorithm in the MLS. So agents also love our system because it really helps them focus in and provide value to their clients. Whereas before, there was really a ceiling on how many clients they could have effectively help. So right here, as you can see the map, we've already pulled comps on this property. So right here, we have the sales comparables, which are right here, the sold, under contract, pending, and active. And we've got 15 rental comps.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So we've got different sources of rental comps. We have a data partnership with one of the largest rental comp providers in the country, but it gives us over 150 million properties. And we also have direct to MLS rental comps too. So those are the difference there, but we've got those different providers of rental data. So you can come in and you can say, well, cool, this house, it was fixed and flipped and there's rental comps in the area. I mean, this is almost the 1% rule right here with that property.
Right.
If we scroll down a little bit more, we can get into the details of the transaction itself. And this is where you can start to do some of that local market research. So this house right here was purchased back in June of last year. We know it was purchased from the MLS because we've got an MLS ID. And we can see the numbers. So they bought it for $51,000. They sold it for $145,000. They had a $94,000 gross profit. We don't know what the net is because there's no database that contains their costs, right? That's on their own books. But look at this. They got a great discount. And this was for an MLS deal, right? Everybody thinks you can't find deals on the MLS. Well, it's not true at all. And honestly, when we look at the data, when you look at these kinds of deals, more than half of all properties are found on the MLS. So if you guys in the audience are listening and you're ignoring on-market properties as a source of deal flow, you're basically passing up on half the opportunities that are out there. And it's already hard enough to find opportunities.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yep.
So over here on the right, we've got the after pictures. So we can see, what kind of construction they did, what kind of materials they used. You can see if this is an area where you can get away with like a rental grade rehab, or you have to do something more high end to meet the needs and the expectations of that neighborhood. But unfortunately, most investors, when they start off, they think they got to do what they saw on that fix and flip show on HGTV,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Put chandeliers everywhere, and they got waterfalls and granite countertops, and it's fun, right? But the reality is sometimes you got to just put Formica on the countertops, right? And that's okay. But you don't know that unless you do your local market research, and that's what this helps with. We also calculate some timelines so they can understand like how long the process takes. And then down here, we show them the actual information about who did this flip. So if you were interested in maybe doing a wholesale deal to generate some cash flow, some liquidity, and you wanted to find buyers, we can see that this company, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I'm thinking it's maybe an acronym, but maybe it's somebody's last name. This is an active fix and flipper in this market.
I think that's right. Yep.
And so if you were going to do a wholesale deal and you wanted to find a property, and let's say you found a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house that needed some work and you got it under contract, well, this company right here might be worth talking to because they might be interested in giving you an assignment fee for that property.
Yep.
So we have all that data here. We also know, and this is what I did when I first went to St. Louis, because when I say went, I was doing virtual deals there before I even set foot in the St. Louis market.
Okay.
So I wanted to find boots on the ground, and my boots, I didn't want it to be some, other investor. I wanted it to be someone who was an expert. So I found an investor friendly agent. And so I found them by looking at who are the agents that are representing fix and flippers. So Lauren Burns right here with the Herman London Group,
I like that,
has represented a fix and flipper. So they have a higher likelihood of being investor friendly and understanding what I'm looking for as an investor. And so I started calling agents, and I found my agent. Her name's Nika, and she's been a godsend for me. She's helped me acquire many properties. She's been my boots on the ground. She goes and looks at properties for me. She takes additional photos, videos, puts them all into a Google Drive. So I have a repository. And then if I do decide to wholesale a property, I can go and I can use that additional information to market it to my buyers list. But she's actually helped me find several rental properties as well. And it's just been great. So when you do work in a remote market, it can be a bit uncomfortable because people are like, well, I don't know the St. Louis market. I live in San Diego. How am I going to do deals there? Well, data is actually going to probably be the best thing that's going to help you. Being able to drive around and look at the neighborhood is going to make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. But at the end of the day, it's the numbers that tell you what a deal is. Not that you can see that property with your own 2 eyes. And that's why Privy is so powerful, because we give you the data to analyze properties. You can build a team on the ground virtually in another market who can help you, kind of maybe see if there's a crumbling foundation or if there's a tree growing through the middle of it. And, they decided not to give you those photos or give you the disclosure.
They missed that photo.
Where's the picture with the tree growing through the middle of it? So, and this part's kind of fun too. Like I really see this as kind of like a way of doing some research, learning what deals are, getting real comfortable. And honestly, Michael, what our users tell us is one of the biggest benefits that comes out of doing this local market research is confidence. Like confidence to actually pull the trigger and write an offer on a property, because they understand what a deal is now. Like they've seen all of these other properties. They can research them. They can see what they're buying them for, what they're selling them for, how much money they're making, the before and after photos. All that stuff really, really helps with giving our users the confidence to take action.
Yeah, this is why Privy is here, and why I said yes to adding Privy to the channel, was because that's all I talk about. How to get started one rental at a time, buy box daily discipline. It is about building confidence. Most people are nervous. It's a very large commitment. That's all I'm trying to do, is get you to the point where you could confidently write a great offer. I can't promise they're going to say yes, but I can promise you get to the point where you're going to write an offer you feel good about. And that is game changing for folks. So that's what I saw in my 2 weeks of due diligence.
Yep. we do have some people who like to use Privy who are really focused on off market, and that's great too. But this is an area where you would want to focus on if you were going to pull a list. So like if you were going to pull a list of foreclosures or vacants, you would target this area here. That way you can leverage these fix and flip properties as data. And then over here in the filter, I can show you that these are some of the off market and motivated seller leads that we do have. So you can see foreclosures and vacants and zombie properties and absentee owners. We have that. We give people the ability to download up to 10,000 leads per month for free.
Oh, wow.
That can also be used to build a buyer's list if you are interested in doing wholesale. So you can export all the information about these buyers into a spreadsheet, a CSV file.
Yep.
And then you can, take that and go skip trace it with some company, or you can market to it. You might just build like a driving for dollars map. It's up to you how you want to handle that. But one of the things that Jamil really loves about our system, Michael, is that 70% of all of his students find their very first deal on Privy.
Wow.
70%. And what they do is they leverage this button here that Scott mentioned earlier. This is where our patent pending lies, is it's find similar active deals.
There you go.
So if tomorrow there were 100 new properties that came on the MLS,
right,
Michael, you'd have to spend the whole day running comps on 100 properties to find the 2 or 3 that made financial sense, right? So you just wasted 97% of your time on properties you're going to say no to anyway. And so if you're going to be super focused and diligent about making sure your 20 minutes is really, money-making activity,
right,
you can use our algorithm. So I'm going to click this button that says find similar active deals. Privy's going in and it's pulling comps on all the properties in this area. And the default search is set to 75%. Now, with my research and what I know about the market, if I wanted to find a property that was at a good discount that I would have multiple exit strategies for, like including wholesale, fix and flip, and buy and hold, I would want to get it lower than 55%.
Right.
Okay. So all I do is I just lower that, and I can actually build additional buy box criteria in here, like purchase price, minimum number of bedrooms and bathrooms. Do I
Buy
want
box.
a basement? Do I want to avoid areas that have an HOA? Like I can build my buy box in here and I can save it, and I get automated alerts to my inbox multiple times a day, up to every hour.
I like it.
So I'm just going to adjust this a little bit, and I'm going to lower this to 55%. And now it's going to re-show me some potential opportunities here based off of the algorithm. So this house right here is for sale for 49 grand. That's a 2-bath, 2-bedroom, 1,734 square feet. That you couldn't buy a garage for that in Denver. But if I scroll down here to the comparables, right away I see there's rental properties in the area. There's different rent ranges. But also too, I see that there are flips in the neighborhood. So the best way to find a discount is to compare our house to other houses in the area that are comps that were flipped. This house was just fixed and flipped and sold, and it's actually under contract for $265. This one right here was fixed and flipped. It's sold for $339. Now there's some adjustments to make here because we do have a tolerance. So we'd have to adjust for 1 fewer bedrooms and 1 fewer bathroom if we couldn't fit another one in there.
Right.
But maybe that subtracts off 50 grand. So now we're looking at, 210 to 295 in that range, 290 as a potential ARV. And look at these percentages, Michael. Like, you know how hard it is to find a property in the 30% range at a discount? It's almost impossible. And Privy found this in seconds.
Right. This is what I was talking about when in my 2 weeks of research. It feels like you're on a beach with sand. There's so much data out there, so much noise. This just gives you a way to the metal detector to say, dig here. It doesn't promise you gold. It just tries to make it a little bit more efficient. So there's so much here. We're going to be doing this once a week. I do have to get going to my 10 o'clock interview. We're going to put a link below where people can try it. There's a promo code ORAAT. Guys, let me know what you think. I think Privy does offer a lot of value. We're going to be talking to them once a week. They're going to be bringing more and more stuff. Benson, wrap it up. What's the closing thoughts?
Well, listen, you've seen the power of Privy, the ability to really get the data that you need to analyze your property, whether you want to do a fix and flip, a wholesale, or a rental property. We're going to be launching more features in the next couple of weeks. We're launching some really cool long-term rental filters to find properties at, a certain cash on cash return that you decide. So jump on board. We have a 30-day money back guarantee. There's no risk to try the system out. I guarantee you guys are going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it. Use the promo code that Mike will put down there. Use the link and we'll give you a discount. We'll get you started off. And I'm just looking forward to working with you guys.
All right, Vincent. Thank you very much, Scott. Thank you very much for reaching out. We will continue our conversations every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.